There are wounds inside you that don't bleed. They don't cry out. They don't show up on scans or tests, but they live in your nervous system like silent ghosts, echoes from a moment you cannot recall, yet which shaped the very foundation of who you became. You forget the event, but your body doesn't. Your heartbeat remembers. Your breath shortens around it. Your reactions are rehearsed by it. And your subconscious, your unseen operating system, was programmed by it. Science now tells us something remarkable. Memories that form during our early years are often implicit. That means they don't arise as mental pictures or stories. They are stored instead as states, emotional templates encoded into your nervous system. They get trapped not in your thoughts, but in your sensory memory. The rhythm of your breath, the tension in your gut, the clenching of your jaw. You don't remember being ignored, but now silence feels like abandonment. You don't recall the cold stares, but now disapproval makes you shrink. You've forgotten the chaos, but your brain flinches at uncertainty. And here lies the paradox. How do you heal a wound you cannot see? How do you soothe a pain you do not consciously know you carry? Neuroscience offers one clue. The limbic system, the emotional brain, forms first. It receives emotional impressions before we can think, analyze, or speak. So the trauma wasn't stored as logic. It was stored as energy. It was stored as felt experience. It became the filter through which your entire world was interpreted. And your subconscious, quietly and loyally, keeps recreating the same reality, not because it's cruel, but because it was programmed to protect you from what it once believed was unsafe. But what if that protection is now your prison? What if the version of you living today is merely the echo of a forgotten moment? In ancient scripture, the book of Psalms whispers this tender truth. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. But what if the wounds aren't visible? What if the brokenness is hidden beneath layers of survival, success, and self-sufficiency? Would you even notice it? Or would you just feel disconnected, anxious, not enough? There's a difference between moving on and healing. One buries, the other transforms. The soul is not governed by linear time. What your mind has forgotten, your spirit still feels. The child within you, the one who was unseen, unheard, or unloved, still lingers in the shadows, waiting for grace to reach backward and rewrite what logic cannot touch. So here is the sacred question. If your memories do not remember the pain, but your body still does, can you heal without remembering? Yes, but not by force, not by analyzing or reliving. You heal by learning to feel safely again.
To create new neural associations, to bring your nervous system into a state where it no longer expects threat, to tell your subconscious not with words, but with presence, you're safe now. This is the divine gift of neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change, to rewire, to renew. Not just because you think differently, but because you feel differently. Because you become the safe place your younger self never had. But can you truly become something your inner child never received? Can you offer love you never knew? This is the path of grace. This is what makes you more than biology. Because somewhere deeper than memory, there is a soul. And the soul remembers what the mind forgot. The soul aches for home. Not a place, but a feeling. Safety, wholeness, belonging. So the question isn't, what happened to me? The real question is, what am I still carrying that doesn't belong to the present moment? And if you were to close your eyes right now, breathe deeply, and ask your body, what emotion feels older than my current life? What would arise? Would you dare to sit with it without trying to name it, without rushing to fix it? Because healing begins the moment you stop needing to explain the pain and start allowing space for it to breathe. Sometimes what your subconscious needs most isn't a memory. It's a new experience, a moment of calm where there used to be chaos, a kind word where there used to be criticism, a safe pause where there used to be punishment. Your subconscious doesn't learn through facts. It learns through patterns, through repetition, through presence. So healing isn't about remembering what happened. It's about giving your system what it never got. It's about interrupting the loop. Because even if the original story is gone, its emotional imprint lingers. And every time you react with fear, withdrawal, people-pleasing, or self-sabotage, you are touching a ghost memory, one that formed when you were too young to make sense of the world. These implicit memories aren't stories, they're states. The state of waiting for the other shoe to drop, the state of holding your breath, the state of trying to earn love that should have been freely given. But here's the radical truth. You don't have to remember in order to repair. You only have to feel in a new way. This is the mystery of the soul, the divine design, that inside your biology there is grace. And grace doesn't demand that you dig up every painful event. Grace simply asks, will you be with what is present now? Will you stay with the ache, not as a problem to solve, but as a part of you that needs love? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, the mind acts like an enemy for those who do not control it. But for those who bring the mind into alignment with the soul, the mind becomes an instrument of liberation. So what if healing isn't about going back, but going in? What if the past only matters to the degree that it still shapes your present identity? You may never remember who first made you feel unsafe, but your subconscious still carries the belief safety is a luxury, or love is conditional, or I have to perform to be accepted. And these beliefs shape everything, your relationships, your goals, your self-worth. So healing isn't about uncovering old facts. It's about unlearning false conclusions. It's about becoming conscious of what used to be automatic. This is where the power of the divine meets the science of neuroplasticity. Because what you practice emotionally, mentally, spiritually gets hardwired. And when you offer your system a new frequency of gentleness, of breath, of compassion, you don't just calm yourself, you reparent yourself. You retrain the nervous system. You create a space within where your soul can finally rest. But be honest, when was the last time you gave yourself that kind of space? A moment where there was no judgment, no pressure, no proving, just breath and being. Most of us are still running from the silence, because in the silence, the ache returns. But what if that ache is not here to punish you? What if it's sacred, a soul signal, a quiet whisper saying, there's something inside you still waiting to be seen? And maybe you don't need to go back and dig through the rubble. Maybe you just need to be here, fully, completely, honestly, and invite grace into the places that were once forgotten. Because the soul doesn't forget. It just waits, patiently. And healing is the moment you finally turn around and meet the part of yourself that's been waiting all along.
Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a younger version of yourself, not with a specific face or age, but as a feeling, a vibration, a flicker of innocence wrapped in longing. You don't need to remember what happened. You only need to sense what wasn't received. Love, safety, validation, warmth. Now ask, what would that version of me need right now? Not what they should have needed, not what someone else might say is enough, but what your body is craving in this very breath. Perhaps it's stillness. Perhaps it's to be held. Perhaps it's just the sound of your own voice whispering, you are not wrong for feeling this way. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to consistency and intention. It doesn't need you to relive your trauma. It needs you to rewrite your response to it. And that starts not with memory, but with presence. The divine meets us in presence, not in the remembering, but in the returning. The soul is not asking you to dig through the archives of pain. The soul is asking, can you stay with me now? Because now is where the healing happens, not in the stories, not in the analysis, but in the moment when you choose to bring love to where fear once ruled, to breathe into where you used to contract, to remain when you once abandoned yourself. This is not about self-help. This is soul restoration. In Isaiah 61:3, it is written that God offers a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. This is not metaphor. It's neurobiology wrapped in spiritual truth. Every time you choose softness over shame, you build a new neural pathway. Every time you sit with discomfort rather than escape it, you are expanding your window of tolerance. You are reteaching your body that it no longer lives in the past, that it is not bound to a memory it cannot recall, that it is free to create a new emotional reality. But will you allow yourself that freedom? Will you allow yourself to receive what was once withheld? Or do you still believe you have to earn healing? That you must prove your worth before you can feel whole? Pause. Ask yourself, who taught me that love must be deserved? That rest must be earned? That healing is for the healed? Maybe the memory is gone, but the belief is still here. And that belief, not the memory, is the chain. That belief, not the event, is what continues the cycle. But here's the miracle. Beliefs can be rewritten.
The subconscious can be reformed. The limbic system can be calmed. The nervous system can be soothed. You can become the safe space that younger you never had. You can speak the words no one ever said to you. You can breathe in the silence you once feared and find that it no longer holds the same sting. Because you are not the same anymore. You are growing new pathways. You are allowing light into places that have lived in darkness for years. And even if you never remember the story, you can feel the shift in your body. You can sense the softening, the loosening, the grace. So much of your life may have been shaped by what you couldn't name. Invisible fears, unconscious defenses, unexplainable grief. But now you are being invited into a different kind of knowing. Not intellectual, not historical, but intuitive and sacred. A remembering that does not rely on memory. A restoration that does not depend on explanation. A healing that flows not from what you understand, but from what you embody. This is the miracle of being human, that even without words, even without clarity, your body knows how to heal. Your soul knows how to rise. Your spirit knows how to find its way home. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are not behind because you can't recall what hurt you. You are still whole, still sacred, still infinitely capable of becoming new. The brain is not static. It is not frozen in time. It is a living organ of change, constantly evolving based on what you feed it with emotion, attention, and belief. Every breath of compassion rewrites a line of code in your subconscious. Every moment of mindfulness reclaims territory from your past. Every whisper of grace that you offer yourself becomes a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. So if you never remember what happened, it's okay. Because healing is not about the event, it's about the echo. And you have the power to transform the echo into stillness. You don't have to trace every thread back to the beginning. You only need to recognize what you're holding and choose to release what no longer serves your soul. This is how the subconscious changes, not all at once, but with each choice to respond differently, to soften when you used to tighten, to stay when you used to flee, to speak truth when silence once ruled, to open your heart even when you don't understand where the pain came from. And this choice, repeated with devotion, becomes the new memory, the new state, the new way of being.
So, I leave you with this question. If you were to meet your younger self right now, the part of you that was shaped by moments you cannot recall, what would you say? Would you explain? Or would you simply hold them? Because sometimes the most powerful healing doesn't come from what we figure out, but from what we finally allow ourselves to feel. And maybe, just maybe, the memories you can't recall don't need to be found. They only need to be forgiven. They only need to be gently replaced with moments of presence so pure that even the oldest ache surrenders. This is the work. This is the invitation. And this is the grace of healing what you never remembered, but always carried.